Welcome to Spotting Session, the Film Music Podcast, Episode 2. I'm Vikram Lockenpal, freelance critic for Film Score Monthly Online and frequent toothbrusher. Film score nerds, we're just like you. For those of you who tuned in for our inaugural episode, I'm joined by the same swarm of scoundrels from last time. We have Cole McLeod, owner of Quantum Score Reviews and an aspiring composer in his own right. Say hello, Cole.
Hello, everyone.
Next, we have Luke Bunting, who recently began contributing to Synchrotone soundtrack reviews. How are you doing, Luke?
Doing pretty well. Thanks, Vikram.
And finally, we have Robert Taylor, writer for Spirit Running Free. Robert, let the people know you're here.
I'm here and I am riding free.
Wonderful. All four of us celebrated some big national holidays earlier this month, and so that'll be the theme informing our older score segment today. We'll follow that up with part 2 of our Harry Potter Odyssey, but first we've got a wealth of new music to discuss from the likes of Brian Tyler, Daniel Hart, Theodore Shapiro, and Michael Giacchino. We'll work our way through the release calendar and kick things off with Robert, who's going to introduce The Mummy by Brian Tyler. Robert, let's hear Taylor on Tyler.
I very much enjoyed that, Vikram. Thank you. So I want to start by saying that Brian Tyler is an incredibly talented composer, but you might not know it from his last few years of output. Most of his work lately has been pretty underperforming anonymous action music. Look at his last 4 scores. They were the Met Power Rangers, Fate of the Furious, Triple X, Return of Xander Cage, which I have been told is an actual movie, and something called Criminal. If you listen to them back to back, I dare you to tell them apart. But every year or two, this fantastic Tyler score comes out and reminds you everything that he's capable of and how wonderful his film scores can be. His previous one, in my opinion, was a score called Now You See Me Too, and now he can add The Mummy to those ranks. The Mummy, of course, is the first movie in the Dark Universe, hopefully, series from Universal, although The Mummy is apparently bombing at the box office. It's only made something like $250 million, which means it's going to have a $75 million loss for its company. I work in film, I still don't understand it. But Brian Tyler's work is incredible. Within the first 2 minutes of the opening cue, we can tell that Tyler is invested in his scoring, at least this time around. The first 3 cues are a fantastic lineup of atmosphere, adventure, and amazing character themes. They're going to recur early and often throughout the score. And almost each time, Tyler paints in a nice distinct twist to the theme, which gives it new changes and new faces. The music throughout is bass heavy and adrenaline pumping. It's the kind of score you listen to when you want your walls to shake and dance around like you were 10 years old again, which I do more often than not. No one judge me because you know you do it too. It has the best parts of Tyler's trademarks mixed with maestros like Jerry Goldsmith and James Horner, all wrapped up in this package that's going to appeal to both fans of remote control productions and more classically inclined film score fans. Look, for example, at the beauty of Egypt's Next Queen. It feels like something out of a golden age of Hollywood film. And when that choir kicks in, it's just wonderful. You guys can't see me, but I am kissing my lips and going, mwah. Tyler must love the score as much as I do because the album's over 2 hours long. And yes, it's longer than the actual film itself. I understand the desire to include so much great material, but the overall package can be a little bit daunting, and understandably so. I'm reminded of the album release of Craig Armstrong's The Incredible Hulk from a few years back, which the score was amazing, but also so long it was hard to take in one sitting. This album, however, is one of the best of the year and an absolute necessity for any film score fan. I'd recommend listening through once in as many sittings as it takes, and then creating your own 50-minute compilation or so mix of highlights. This deserves much more than just a 10-minute suite. It might be a little rough for you to narrow it down to only 50 minutes because there's so much great stuff, but there you go. And finally, I'd just like to say that I like it as much as Goldsmith and Silvestri's Mummy scores. Yes, I think it's that great. What did you guys think?
Well, I I'm mostly in agreement with you. This score is fantastic. I never really understood the love for Goldsmith's Mummy score, so in my opinion, this one is superior to it. I
How
feel like
dare you?
sacrilege, I know. How dare I blaspheme our father Jerry? But as I was listening to this most recent time, I started thinking about how, especially in the last 20 years or so, orchestras or like the ensembles used in blockbuster film scores have gotten larger. It seems like they've gotten larger and more epic, and like 100-piece orchestra and this huge choir. And so many of those scores, so many of those films don't need it. They don't need an orchestra that large, and if you do that same record that same music with an ensemble half the size, it'll work just the exact same. And the writing often doesn't earn that scope and that scale. And this score does. Brian Tyler uses all the different sections of the orchestra very creatively. He puts them through their paces. This is the kind of score where I imagine the hired musicians absolutely enjoy performing and recording. And as you say, it's huge, it's epic, and it's great. It's anchored by two themes: the theme for the Mummy and Nick's theme. They're both fantastic. Nick's theme, actually, I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but it reminds me a lot of Carter Burwell's main theme from Hail Caesar, because Nick's theme goes bum 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 bum, and Burwell's theme from Hail Caesar uses the exact same four notes at the beginning. It's bum 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 bum. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that. So yeah, that's how I feel about the score. I do, however, have one disagreement with you. You were very critical of Tyler at the beginning, listing off his last four scores. I would like to point out, though, that all of those scores you listed came out within the last 6 months or so. And if you take a careful look at Tyler's filmography, he's putting out one or two very good scores every year. He's churning out a lot of not as great music, but he's still prolific and he's still consistent. He still has this consistent quality output every year. Because you had Now You See Me 2 last year, you had Truth and Avengers the year before that, you had Iron Man 3 the year before that, and so just take it easy on him. That's all I've got. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more with agreement with Robert when it comes to Tyler's general output. I think that it's been, in the past couple of years, kind of lackluster. I was not a big fan of Now You See Me 2. I felt like it was largely a retread, and all the good parts were just the parts that they didn't include on the first movie's soundtrack. But yeah, I love this film, or not the film. I love the score. I think that you got to something that's really interesting, is that they keep increasing the size of orchestras for scores nowadays, but the scores aren't earning having orchestras that size. They keep being, you'll have a 100-piece orchestra, and it sounds like it's only 50 players just because they aren't orchestrating, they aren't being creative enough with it. Tyler really just goes for broke here, and you can hear it. You can hear he's having fun. I am still not sure what about the Mummy series inspires composers so much, but you have a good Goldsmith score, an amazing Silvestri score, and now one of the best of Tyler's career. I've been very worried kind of about his output in the past few years. I think even going back to the Avengers 2, his material for that really was not very strong. I do wonder if he really wanted to prove himself to become the kind of franchise composer for this new universe after his tough experience with Marvel. I wonder if he was extra motivated to turn in something great, and he really did. This is going to be in the running for me, at least, for score of the year. Probably be top 5. It's definitely in top 5, top 3 for me right now. So, yeah, I think it's a home run all around.
Cole, any thoughts?
I will split the vote with Vikram and say don't be too harsh on Tyler's recent output, because I think he's always good. Maybe not always amazing, but he's always good. In the case of The Mummy, I thought it was really good. I mean, everybody's talked it up pretty good up till now, so there's not a lot I can add, but I like the themes. I love the choir. It's this like apocalyptic kind of huge choir, really adds a lot of oomph to the film. My only real complaint with it is just how long it is. Like Robert was saying, you kind of have to trim it down or something, because it's even longer than the film. It's hard to get it in one long sitting, but by and large, yeah, I think it's really good, and I really enjoyed it. That kind of mix of adventure, horror, I think is really fertile ground for a composer, and Tyler makes good use of it.
One might say that scores set in the Middle East are often a fertile crescent for creativity.
Well done. I approve of that.
Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you. All right, so there you have it. We all love The Mummy. The score, at least. Maybe not the film.
Yeah, we'll have to consider Robert on that one.
Movie's really not that bad. It is perfectly fine.
Fair enough. So next up, we have a big screen adaptation of one of the few superheroes I did read growing up, Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, with music by Theodore Shapiro. Luke, give us some background and your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think most people of our generation probably grew up seeing either their friends reading Captain Underpants or read the books themselves, but it's this great series of kids' books that has some drawings along with the prose, telling the story of two elementary school friends who create a comic book character named Captain Underpants, end up hypnotizing their teacher and making him think that he is Captain Underpants whenever they snap their fingers. So, yes, fertile material for a movie adaptation. And the movie itself is a lot of fun, very aimed at kids. I don't think it made a ton of money, so this might be the end of that franchise, unfortunately, because I think there's a lot they could do there. But as far as the score goes, it's scored by Theodore Shapiro, who in the past couple of years has kind of been one of the composers to watch. You have him doing a lot of the Paul Feig movies. You had a fantastic score he did for Spy, a very good one he did for Ghostbusters, and now you have this one, which is undoubtedly his best one, and for me at least, the best score of the year thus far. The score is centered around 3 main themes. You have a theme for friendship, which is kind of this, it's a rising, falling, very circular motif. It's very catchy and permeates the score every time you see the two friends there. You also have this fanfare for Captain Underpants that corresponds to the character's kind of battle cry, which is tra-la-la. And then additionally, you have a villain motif for Professor Poopy Pants. So Professor Poopy Pants gets his own theme, which is very present as well, very sinister. And the 3 of these themes really are put through their paces throughout the entire score. There's a lot of interplay, but even beyond that, Shapiro uses some very interesting or very unique orchestrations to bring the score to life. You have things like record.
I believe Luke just died.
Luke.
And it was so much fun hearing him say Captain Poopy Pants. Luckily, it seems like he wrote it down, so when he logs back in about 3 minutes, he'll be able to just reread the last sentence, and it can be very crisply edited.
So is this just free for all time now?
Let's all get wasted. I'm on my second glass of rosé. Actually, not rosé. It's just White Zinfandel.
Ooh.
Luke asks if he froze. I will say yes, you did.
Hi, Cole.
Hello.
Hi, Martin.
Yeah, I guess this is a good time for you to jump in.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey, where did Vikram go?
He just came back.
Luke says to continue without him. So maybe just start Cole's, and then Luke will come in, and then we can restart his section. We're such a clusterfuck today. It's wonderful.
You know, we can always talk about how awful The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is. Oh, goodbye.
Luke?
Yes, hi. I have returned on my cell phone.
Okay, perfect. I was saying, why don't you just read the last sentence that you were saying before your thing froze up? That way it's easy for us to just do a invisible cut.
So I do not write these things down. I kind of make bullet points. I'm not sure what the last thing I said was.
How about we just go back to you saying poopy pants?
Okay.
Hi, I vanished for a second, but I'm back.
Okay, Luke, I would say, do you guys remember where he left off?
Also, is it still recording?
Yes, it's still recording.
Yes, it's still recording.
I think the last fully formed thoughts that you got out were you saying that, best of the year, blah, 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 and then you were segging into something else when you got cut off.
I don't even.
Wait, so did everyone get cut off?
No, I think everybody else was okay. I think just
We're all
Luke
fine. It was
froze.
just Luke.
Yeah, my whole. Yeah, this is I don't know what Chrome's deal is. But yeah, I mean,
Okay.
should I just restart the whole segment? I mean, I don't know where.
I think that's the best plan because, see, my internet got cut, but that was like here with my router. That was a router thing.
Okay.
I didn't realize things went awry with you also. So I heard
I'm
like the
just
first.
excited because, again, more poopy pants comments.
Right.
I would almost say it's better to start over because you sound different on the phone. So if we tried to splice it, you would suddenly sound like much different mid-conversation.
Right.
So it might be better just to kind of start fresh.
Okay.
Yeah, I only heard like the first sentence of Luke's part anyway, so.
All right, and it still says that we are on air.
Yes. Mine still says live.
Does it say that we are on air? My Chrome just crashed, so my worry is that it might have done something stupid.
It still says live.
Mine says live, yes. And
Mine says live
button is
too.
yellow.
Okay, well, live is different than on air. Well, like, I'm not sure if it's recording still, is my only thing.
We could just restart the recording and splice the two things together later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that for my phone.
Okay.
I'm getting another glass of wine, guys. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
That's fair. Okay. Can you like?
1 second.
Okay, so Luke.
I'm restarting. Okay, Chrome is restarting.
Wait, it was spotting session that was connected, right? Not Luke.
Right, it was spotting session. Spotting session was recording it.
Right.
So let me see if the YouTube pulls up.
Okay.
I need to add some of you guys to that account so you guys can access it too, and then that way you'd be able to do. I meant to do that this past week.
Right.
Then that way you if somebody is having issues, one of us can go on and start the broadcast through Spotting Session.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still there, Vikram?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, because I just got your message about losing the internet.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I just got.
Because I just turned my phone's internet back on. Yeah. At first I thought I was taking up the bandwidth, but okay.
Guys, if every single one of us had issues with Chrome tonight, maybe it's a problem with the website and not us. Because my chat thing is still frozen. 2 of you guys have gotten booted at this point.
Well,
and then Cole had issues with his microphone. Maybe it's just the actual thing is fucked.
My issues are just Chrome as the app as itself, but yeah, I don't know. That might